Okay, so we're still got some time off and working on old Blue Thunder here. And while I was doing the air conditioning work, I found a steering pump leak. We're gonna see if we can display that for you here. At the moment, that should be dry and clean. Okay, because I cleaned it and dried it so I could diagnose it. And I'm trying a feature I found on the phone. So we're gonna how can I put it? I'd like to be able to review this video, but anyway, I'm gonna show y'all the leak, even though I won't be able to look at it. There's something dripping right there. There. I just saw a drip. Let's see if this will help. So anyway, what I'm going to do is try and shoot this. I'm going to try and edit this as I shoot it. I just found a button on the camera I didn't realize existed, and we're going to see what happens, okay? Alright. Okay, so let's now that we've diagnosed the problem, I've been sitting here evaluating it and want to talk about it a little bit before we attack it. Okay, what we have here, hold on, let's just get rid of the flashlight, turn this on, there. Alright, it's a typical GM Saginaw steering pump, I think it's called. Anyway, it's a metal can, and then there's a very large hole in the front of the metal can, and the pump actually drops into it. And then all the return line is permanently attached to the can. Okay, right there. That is a non-reusable hose clamp. I like to leave those intact, so I usually disconnect the hose down here at the steering box. Okay, then the pressure line here, okay, is also is an O-ring fit. Okay, you see it right there, that tube with the nut on it. Okay, and the actual leak is behind the big nut that little nut is screwed into. And this is actually a very common thing, and this will be the second time in the truck's life I've had to do this. And what I'm really concerned with is the hole. Well, you'll see when we disassemble it, the hole that big nut goes in the can. If there's any cracks around that, we're gonna have to replace the damn can. And If that's the case, we might be down another day or two while I try and locate a damn can. But okay, part of the deal is we got to get this pulley off, okay, and it's a press fit onto the shaft, because the shaft and I don't understand why, Jim, the only reason you take the pulley off is to get to these damn bolts right here. If there was a hole in that damn pulley, I could just put a tool through it and get that bolt out. But no, I got to get a special tool to remove this pulley. And it sucks. Anyway, remove the pulley. Remove these bolts here. Okay. We're going to end up taking that to loosen this bracket from the engine, because it's attached to the pump as well. Okay, but once we get the two bolts out here, get this bracket loose, pull the whole assembly out, then we'll be able to get it on the table and start addressing the issue. Oh, and I forgot to mention, we're going to take the top of the radiator shroud off to make access to that pulley even easier. So give me a minute to get some tools rounded up and table set up and etc. Alright, so we went to the trouble of powering y'all up here, because this is going to be time consuming. We'll go ahead and turn that off for right now, otherwise it's going to blind me. And we're going to mount y'all kind of like that. Everybody asks, about equipment. Anyway, this is just the what the hell is it? It's an LG V20 phone that I'm using here, and this little clampy thing right here, this little inexpensive clampy thing, and this is just a weight. It's got a nice velour bottom on it, and a nice flat piece of metal for a suction cup to stick on, is what I'm going to use to hold y'all steady. Okay, and I've been rooting around the garage trying to get some tools together, and I realized that I had lost my mostest favorite tool on the planet, and so I had to tear the damn place apart till I found it. And this guy right here. So this is an antique. Okay, I mean, it's a Craftsman, ancient, late 50s, early 60s vintage. Okay, but the neat thing about it is the handle on it. Okay, all right, and these are some old Matco extensions and swivels. Okay, but you can put this ratchet on there and spin it like that, and so it makes life pretty, it makes life easier. What I like about it is this: there's no batteries, there's no cords, there's no hoses, and it's quiet. I don't like a lot of noise when I'm doing heart surgery. So anyway, what we're doing right now is taking this fan shroud off so we can get access to the belt and the pulley on the steering pump. Okay, and then let's talk about where I'm placing the bolts for a second. This little toolbox right here, this was a Chevrolet option. At least I think it was an option. It did not come with this truck. I encountered one in one of the trucks that I used to maintain, and always wanted to have one eventually. Found that one in a junkyard, although it was tore up. But it was the first one after 10 or 15 years of looking. It was the first one that I encountered, and so no matter the condition, I brought it home. And a little bit of JB Weld, and yeah, I think that's all I fixed it with, JB Weld. Okay, so that is 2, 4, 7 bolts. Okay, now I also converted this truck to an electric fan. So what I'm getting ready to pull out might not look like what you've got. Let me unplug this first. Alright, so the fan I picked up out of the dirt of the junkyard. I think it's out of an S10. Not sure though. But it is attached to the shroud now. Come on, come on. Okay. So anyway, S10 fan, I think, electric. But I also poked some holes in that shroud so that when I'm going down the road, if the pressure in front of the radiator gets to be higher than the fan can move, this will help vent and keep airflow. So anyway, fan shroud's out of the way. Okay, now, oh yeah, let's show you a couple of details. I also installed these little bracket thingies so that that shroud lives right there, that fan, and won't beat the radiator up. And obviously the water pump required bolts because the studs that mounted the fan originally were too long. So anyway, now you can see the reason we took that shroud off. We can get right to this pulley now. Okay, so let's first thing we got to do is take that belt off. And actually, let's do this here. This might actually work, maybe. Sorta. Give you all a see. I can see you. I hope you can see me. See if we can get a better angle there, maybe. What if I think I got this thing on wide angle? I believe I do. Okay, so let's try that. So, gotta get this belt off. Let's get this tool out of the way here. Now there's some more ancient tools here. But tell you right now, I don't care how old a tool is. If it does its job, it's more than welcome in my toolbox. But this is a complete stick of Powercraft sockets that I'm going to say probably something you could buy at Napa or somewhere like that way back in the day. And this is also a Powercraft breaker bar, but these are probably from the 60s or 70s. Alright, so all we do, we're going to get us a little bit better leverage here. This is a spring-loaded idler right here. Lift up on that. That loosens the belt, and then we release. There. Now we can take the belt to get it out of the way. And that gives us access to this pulley right here. So now, this is where the one ultra special tool comes into play. Let me make sure that y'all that you know. Okay, so if you're going to do this job, you need this tool. Okay, and this one is product line is OEM. The coloring on it, I'm going to say this is what used to be Lyle product line, and the kit number, but it's the name of the company now is OEM, which was a common term for original equipment manufacturer. But anyway, part number right there, 25298. Hey. Alright, so this pulley is pressed onto this shaft, and we have to press it off to get access to them bolts. And so here, let's make sure this is all lubed up and happy. A little bit of WD-40 is all it needs. Okay, now, excuse me. So, what we have here is essentially it's just a bolt and a nut. Okay, and as you twist the bolt, obviously the nut goes down the bolt. And so, what we're going to do is there's more parts to this. We're going to screw this in like that. Okay. And then let's see which side goes where. Okay, so you've got a clamshell situation. You're going to assemble it like that. And you're going to assemble it like that. Is that happy or not? Actually, it's got to be happy. Come on, let's make sure we get it happy. Hold on. Happy? Not happy. Hold on. Come on. Everything, I want everything happy here. look at it hard. Look at it hard. Okay. Two different radiuses. Alright, the smaller one is on the tool. So we're going to put tool there, like that. Okay. Put this. Oops. I don't like that at all. Okay, so we'll go this way. Right. Yeah. And then you got this ring here. It goes like that. Now, when you twist this, like so. Okay, now we're putting pressure. This screw puts pressure on the actual pump shaft and opposing pressure on the pulley. And so, you've actually got a pretty good angle there to watch what happens. The magic, I expect if you compare this pulley to that pulley, because they are in line, and also over here, if you can see it. So anyway, let me find some wrenches. Seven-eighths. Nope. All right. Go down to 3/4. Nope. Should have just grabbed a 13 and been done. All right. So there's that. Okay. And this one, maybe 5/8, maybe. Okay, but we're going to get a ratchet for that. Again, an ancient tool, but this is my favoriteest half-inch drive ratchet. It's a Wright. Okay, and a lot of these tools, me and a buddy bought together when we were young men. My friend found a newspaper advertisement for mechanics tools for sale. And what it was the lady had 2 5-gallon buckets full of this crap. Turns out her husband had owned several gas stations, and he had a service bay, and he passed away, and she had all these tools. And me and my buddy went through them, and she wanted $40 for 10 gallons of these tools. And I told my buddy, and she was just an old widow lady, just trying to get by. It was obvious, you know. And I told my buddy, we can't give her $40 for all these tools. And me and him come to an agreement. And we gave that lady $200. And I mean, those buckets were full of Craftsman, full of Snap-on, full of Macco, full of this Powercraft crap. And me and him spent 3 days, well, probably not 3 days, but a fair amount of time sorting through. And we ended up, each of us got at least one example of
Anyway, and if there was only one example, okay, in that nifty ratchet I had to begin with, yeah, that kind of stuff, we'd end up flipping a coin, cutting cards, just some way so that we're both satisfied once we were done sorting that 10 gallons of tools out. Whoa, okay. So there's that. We're going to take a little break and then get back to it. Maybe find something to eat. Maybe a cold adult beverage, but that's where we're at the moment.